Hello everybody and welcome to Raddy's Tech News. Today I've got Robbie the Robot, or I think his correct name is the Robot. He's come to be my guest today. He's the strong silent type, so I guess he won't have much to contribute, but I'm sure he's a good listener. So Robbie, welcome to the show. So today I'm going to talk about my favourite themes, which are to do with Apple, Google, Sony and Microsoft. So let's start straight away and talk about all things technology. So first off, let's start off with Apple. So Apple have released a number of new products this week. They've released the iPad Air 2, the iPad Mini 3, OS X Yosemite. They've also released a new MacBook Mini, and probably a number of other things that I can't remember off the top of my head. But let's start off with the iPad Air 2. I already thought the iPad Air was quite a speedy machine, so I'm not quite sure why they've concentrated on increasing the processing power. I'd rather have a new feature, a real new killer feature, because it just looks like if I was going to replace my current iPad 2, I want something that I can say I'm going to be able to do different. And at the moment, okay, it's lighter. I think the iPad 2 is quite light as it is at the moment. The iPad Air is definitely quite a light machine. It's got good enough graphics. There isn't really a killer app out there that utilises those killer graphics and utilises the power of those machines. There isn't anything that uses the power of the iPad 3 and the iPad 4 and the iPad Air yet. So I'm not sure why Apple are concentrating on increasing the processing power. I'd rather that time was spent on giving us a killer new feature. And again, I don't think the fingerprint scanner is the killer new feature. Although, I must admit, I'd like it. I do like the idea that I don't have to keep entering in my passcode to actually start up my iPad. It would be nice just to use that fingerprint. So that's a nice to have for me. On the iPad Mini 3, I believe that it's well overdue for an increase in power, so that I'm pretty pleased with. Unfortunately, a person of my age, my eyesight precludes me from utilising something such a small device. But my son, on the other hand, I'm sure he would love it. So that's Apple side of things. The Mac Mini, again, I'm not really sure I see the point in having a device that's not a laptop. You get a screen with your MacBooks. It's priced quite expensively. I can actually buy a laptop for that price. It's expensive. It's an expensive way of getting into the Apple infrastructure. So although I do want all these devices, I'm not prepared to put my money where my mouth is. So and again, they've increased the processor power. Heard nothing else about what else the Mac Mini is going to offer me. I was hoping that they would bring out something like the Apple TV version 4 now, so it didn't happen, so we'll have to wait for, and their slogan was, "It's been a long wait." I can't think of which of these devices it's been a long wait since the last time they updated it. Must have been some punchline, but I didn't watch the Apple event, so I'm not sure what they were referring to. So that's Apple. Let's go on to Google. Google's released the Google Nexus 6 and the Google Nexus 9. I don't really know much about it. I haven't seen anything to say whether they're brilliant. I'm sure they're faster. I'm sure the screens are better. I'm sure they're going to be brilliant devices, and the main thing is, of course, they use the new Android Lollipop operating system, which is brilliant, but again, I haven't been given a single reason why I should use it. Probably because people who I talk to always say Apple just works and Apple's less complicated to just get working, and I hope that the Android Lollipop is learning to do that, along with all the advantages of being able to configure the screens. So yeah, that might be interesting. But again, I'm using the Android. I'm using an S3 with a pretty old version now of the Android. I do feel left behind. I bought an S3. It was 1 year old at the time. I think the S4 was already out when I bought it. But I do feel I've been left behind by Android, and I wish they wouldn't keep doing that. So I think if you actually do buy a Google device, Google Nexus phone, you're less likely to be left behind when they upgrade. So Microsoft, key news that I heard today was that they're dropping the Nokia brand. So what do you think to that, Robbie? Yeah, I agree, Robbie. Yeah, sad news. Yeah, nothing much you can say about it, is there, Robbie? No. So Robbie agrees with me. Sad that Nokia's gone, but they've had their heyday. I remember the last device I bought of theirs was the N95. It was supposed to be a brilliant device. Unfortunately, it didn't connect to my Wi-Fi, so Nokia lost me. So that happens. Then let's go on to the PS4, PlayStation 4. So again, I do feel that my console gaming days are over. I used to be one of the first buyers of every console. But the thing that really got my boat for both Microsoft and for Sony is the fact that they didn't make their latest consoles 4K compatible. It's out there. It would have been a good starter. When HD came out, HD TV came out, both the consoles jumped that leap from the old consoles to the new ones and became high definition. They didn't do that with the next gen, so I feel like these are just interim consoles. They may be better, but I wanted them to keep up pace with TV technology. And unfortunately, Sony and Microsoft both let us down. They carried on with Blu-ray technology. We're already used to Blu-ray technology. It would have been nice if they'd released something that would have been 4K compatible on a disc. You know, even something like that would have been fantastic. You are charging premium prices for these products, so make them premium products instead of making them just a little bit better. So that's it. That's my rant. That's talked about all the gadgets out there. So hope you'll come back and talk to Robbie someday. And anyway, that's it from me. Thanks, bye, and thanks for listening.